Hello students, today we are going to learn chapter number 4, Effects of Electric Current. Now in this chapter you will be learning the subtopics energy transfer in electrical circuits. Now how the energy is transferred to the charge and how the charge moves through the circuit. The second subtopic that we are going to learn is heating effects of electric current. Now in this topic we will be learning about the collisions of the electron with the atoms of the conductors and it results in the liberation of heat. The third subtopic that we are going to learn is magnetic effect of electric current. Now in this subtopics we will be learning about the Oersted experiment and the Faraday's experiment. So let us start with the first topic, that is energy transferred in an electrical circuits. Now as you see in the circuit that is on the left hand side of your screen, you have basically the P is the electrical power. The electrical power is given by the formula energy upon time. Now how to remember this formula? You can also remember as energy is equal to PT. That means P is your electrical power, T is the time. Or in other words, you can also remember it as energy required for physical training. So in this way you can remember this formula. So here we are employing the formula P, that is the power, that is electrical power, is equal to energy upon time. Now you can see in the circuit that is shown, E is the EMF of the battery or the cell. Now in this case we have shown a cell. R is the internal resistance of the cell. V is the voltage of the internal resistance or across the internal resistance. Capital R is the external resistance and V is the voltage across this external resistance. Now you can see in the diagram also the current is flowing from the positive part of the cell to the negative part of the cell. So now going further, power, that is electrical power, is equal to VQ upon T. Now we know that energy is given by V into Q, where V is the potential difference and Q is the charge that is flowing through the circuit. Now also we know that current is equal to charge upon time. Now charge is denoted by the symbol capital Q, current I and time T. Now this formula also you can remember as charge is equal to current into time, or in other words charge is equal to IT. So you can remember this formula as we pay income tax by paying charge. So here we have included charge is equal to current into time or current is equal to charge upon time. Therefore, we substitute in the above formula and we get P is equal to IV, where I is your current and V is the potential difference. Again, how to remember this formula? You can remember as P as the patient, I as IV as the basically the IV that is given to the patient, or by giving IV to the patient gets power. Okay, so this is the way you can remember this formula, but don't confuse with what is P. P is electrical power, I is the electrical current and V is the potential difference. Next, you can see on the screen H is equal to power into time. Now we substitute the formula for power as IV, so we get H that is equal to VIT. Now in this case H is your basically the concept of the heat energy, or we can call it as H is as the heat energy. Now according to Ohm's law, the famous formula V is equal to IR. Now again you can remember this formula as VIR, okay, but don't forget that V stands for the potential difference, I for the electrical current and R is the resistance of the circuit. So we substitute in the formula and we get H is equal to I square RT, or in other words you can write this formula as V square upon R multiplied by T. So hence this is your Joule's law of heating, which states that H, that is your heat energy, is equal to the square of the current, resistance of the circuit and the time during which the charges pass through the circuit. Next, let us see the unit of electrical power. Now we know that power is equal to V into I. The SI unit of voltage is volt and for current is ampere. So in terms of 1 volt into 1 ampere, we can write 1 volt as 1 joule upon 1 coulomb into ampere can be written as 1 coulomb upon 1 second. So finally we get 1 joule per second, and that 1 joule per second is equal to watt. Thus, the unit of electrical power is, either if you write in single alphabet, it is written as capital W, or in words, it is written as watt. Now remember, don't write it as watts, it is W-A-T-T, that is in singular form. Now this is the scientist. On the honor of this scientist, the unit of electrical power is watt. He is famous James Watt. Also, 1 kilowatt is equal to 1 kilowatt hour, that is equal to 1 kilowatt can be written as 1000 watt, and 1 hour can be written as 3600 seconds. So when you further simplify this, we get 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 3.6 into 10 raised to 6 watts second. That is nothing but 3.6 into 10 raised to 6 joule. So these are the commercial units of power. So often you get the electricity bill in terms of kilowatt hour. Okay, and remember the conversion is 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 3.6 into 10 raised to 6 joules. This is often written in terms of scientific notations. Next is the heating effect of electric current. Now whenever a resistor is connected in an electrical circuit, heat is produced in it due to the flow of current. So this is known as heating effect of current. Now equipment such as water boiler, electrical cooker, electric bulb makes use of heating effect of electric current. Also, electrical conductors have high resistivity. Now if it has high resistivity are also used in this case. For example, if we have a coil that is made up of alloy, that is nichrome. Now this nichrome is used in electrical heater, also cooker as a resistor, whereas the tungsten wire is used in electric bulb, because we know that when the current passes through the conductor gets heated up. Now this wire gets heated up to nearly 3400 degree and it emits light. Also the hot wire also radiates heat to a certain extent. So these are various heating effect of electric current. Now in household circuit we have seen that often appliances get heated up. This is because of the heating effect of electric current. In other words, when the charge flows through the conductor, right, inside the conductor there is a collision of the atoms, and this collision of atom results in the heating effect. Also in household circuit, now basically in household circuit we have three wires. One is live wire, other is neutral, and the third one is earthing wire. So you can see on the right hand side different types of wire in electric circuits. So you have different colors that are being denoted. So here the green color is the earthing wire, the red color is for the live wire, and the black color is for the neutral wire. So basically in all the electrical connection we have these three wires: live, neutral, and earthing. The live and the neutral wires have potential difference of 220 volt. So in India we have a potential difference of 220 volt. Through the live wire the current enters the appliances, and through the neutral wire the current exits the appliances. So the total potential difference is 220 volt. The earth is connected to the ground. Now you can see on the screen on your right hand side that there is a current supply. You can see the live wire, the neutral wire, and see the earthing wire. The earthing wire is connected to the earth. Now if there is a fault in the equipment, or if there is a plastic coating on the live and the neutral wire gets damaged, because after so many years the coating that is between the live wire and the neutral wire, or the coating on the live wire and the neutral wire gets damaged, then the two wires come in contact with each other. And if the two wires come in contact with each other, we know that in live wire the current starts and through neutral wire the current exits. Now if the live and the neutral wire comes directly in contact with each other, then a larger current flows through it, and this produces heat. Now if there is an inflammable material around that place, then it catches fire. So we use a fuse wire as a precautionary measure. So you can see on the screen that there is one, basically a socket. You can see the live wire, and you can also see the fuse wire, the red color fuse wire. Now what happens when there is a large amount of current flowing through the circuit? Whenever such incident happen, then this fuse wire melts, and when this fuse wire melts, the circuit becomes open. So now the current gets disconnected to the appliances. So in this way the fuse wire melts and the breaking of the circuit occurs and any further damage is avoided. Now the third subtopic that we are going to learn is magnetic effect of electric current. Now we know that whenever the electric current passes through say electric circuits, an electrical current, that is basically the flow of electric charge, it produces magnetic effect in the space around the conductor, and this is called as the strength of magnetic field or simply magnetic field. Now this was illustrated by a famous scientist, Oersted. Now what Oersted did, he took a battery of EMF E. Now this battery was connected to say a conductor, okay, and you have a variable resistor, then you have a key, and a magnetic needle was kept below the wire. Now as soon as the key was closed, the current started flowing the circuit, and when the current started flowing the circuit, there was deflection in the magnetic needle. Let us see once more. The battery of EMF E is connected across a conductor and there is a plug key. Now this plug key acts as a switch. Now initially the arrow is above the plug key, that means no current is flowing through the electrical circuits, and you place a magnetic needle just below the wire or below the conductor. Now as soon as the key is pressed, that means the current started flowing the circuit, and now you observe the deflection in the magnetic needle. So when the current was allowed to flow through a wire that is placed parallel to the axis of the magnetic needle directly below the wire, the needle was found to deflect from its normal position. Now if you reverse the polarity, that means you reverse the direction of the current. So in this case you see on the screen that the direction of the current has been reversed. A magnetic needle is kept as before. Now observe the deflection of the magnetic needle as soon as the key is pressed or the circuit is switched on. Now again you observe that there is a deflection in the magnetic needle as soon as the current passes through the conductor. So this means when the current was reversed through the wire, the needle was found to deflect in the opposite direction. So Oersted concluded that when the current was not flowing to the circuit, the magnetic needle was not deflected. But as soon as the current flows through the circuit, the magnetic needle was deflected. Now when the current was stopped, the magnetic needle returned back to its original position. So he observed that the magnetic needle was only deflected when there was a flow of current. So he concluded that when the current passes through the conductor, the magnetic field is produced around the conductor, and because of this magnetic field that is around the conductor, the magnetic needle was deflected. So he concluded that whenever the current passes through any conductor, a magnetic field is produced around the conductor. Now to find the direction of the magnetic field, we use a famous rule, that is right hand thumb rule or curl rule. Now what it says? It says if a current carrying conductor is imagined to be held in right hand such that the thumb points in the direction of the current, then the tips of the fingers encircling the conductor will give the direction of the magnetic lines of force. Now we will understand better when we see the next concept. Now let us see what are magnetic field lines. So you take a cardboard. Now through the cardboard there is a conductor or a wire. So you see on the screen that you have placed your right hand around the conductor. You can see the thumb is pointing in the direction of the current, the outstretched thumb, whereas the fingers are encircling the conductor. So your curl finger will give the direction of the magnetic field. So this is what the blue color indicates the direction of the magnetic field. So these are the direction of the magnetic field, and these circles are called as the magnetic lines of force. Now what happens if you reverse the direction of the current? Now in this case, again we apply the right hand thumb rule, and we find that now the direction of the current, that is indicated by the thumb of your right hand, the thumb is in the direction of the current, and your curl finger, now you can see the direction of the curl finger. Okay, the direction of the curl finger will indicate the direction of the magnetic lines of force. Now if you compare the direction of the magnetic lines of force in two cases, when the current was moving vertically upwards, your fingers were around the conductor. That means your finger were denoting the direction of the magnetic field. So here you see the direction of the magnetic field is clockwise. So here in the two diagram, you see that when the direction of the current is vertically upwards, your curl finger were around the conductor. Now if your thumb is indicating the direction of the current, which is vertically upwards, your fingers are around the conductors. Now if you see the direction of your fingers, they are in direction of anti-clockwise. Whereas if you see in the second diagram, the current was in vertically downwards. So if your thumb of your right hand is pointing in the direction of the current, that means your thumb is vertically downwards and your curl finger are around the conductor, which indicates the direction of the magnetic field. Then in this case, the direction of the magnetic field is clockwise. Okay, so concluded, when the direction of the current is vertically upwards, the direction of the magnetic field is anti-clockwise, whereas if the conductor is kept vertically downwards and if the current is flowing vertically downwards, then the direction of the current is clockwise. Now the question is how to remember this. Now when you get up, you have lot of energy. Now as you do work and when you are later in the day, you feel tired, that means your energy level goes down. So we compare with that of the second diagram. Your thumb is downward, your energy level is downwards. That means we can say that if the direction of the current is vertically downwards, then the direction of the magnetic field is clockwise. If the direction of the current is vertically upwards, then the direction of the magnetic field is anti-clockwise. That means if you compare your energy in the evening to that early in the morning, you will find your energy level in the evening is lesser. Okay, this way you can remember the right hand thumb rule. But don't forget that right hand thumb rule is used to find the direction of the magnetic field when the current flows through the conductor. And secondly, for this type of conductor, when it is a straight conductor, then your thumb of your right hand, I repeat, thumb of your right hand indicates the direction of the current. Then your curl finger around the conductor will indicate the direction of the magnetic field. Now let us see the situation where a magnetic field is produced by a current through a circular loop of conducting wire. So in this case, you can see in the diagram, there is a circular loop is there, which is a conductor. The current is flowing, that is, current is flowing from the positive part of the power source and going towards the negative part. So in this case, you can observe the magnetic field lines around the conductor. Now this magnetic field lines around the conductor and the direction is again given by the right hand thumb rule. So you can use your right hand thumb rule and you can find the direction of the magnetic field lines whenever the current is passed through the conductor. So if a current passes through the loop, now in this case the circular loop, the magnetic lines of force are produced at each point on the loop. Now as we go away from the wire, you can notice as we go away from the wire, the concentric circle representing magnetic lines of force become bigger. Now you can see they are becoming bigger and bigger. Okay, you can observe in the picture that how the magnetic lines of force are going bigger and bigger. Next, as we go towards the center of the loop, the circle becomes so big that its arc can be shown in a straight line. So you can see in the middle of this conductor, the magnetic field lines are almost a straight line. And as I have told you, the direction of the magnetic field lines are given by right hand thumb rule. Now let us see for a solenoid. When a current is passed through a solenoid, how magnetic field lines are observed. So you have a solenoid, you can see we have a solenoid, and the current is passed through the solenoid. Now when the current is passed through a solenoid, you can see the magnetic field lines around the solenoid. So in this case, the solenoid is compared to a bar magnet. So in this case, if suppose the left hand side of your screen is a magnetic south and the right hand side of your screen is the magnetic north for this particular bar magnet, you can see the magnetic field lines. Now important thing, you can see the direction of the magnetic field lines. Outside the bar magnet, the magnetic field line starts from north and they terminate towards the south. Whereas inside, if you see the magnetic line inside the bar magnet, it is from south to north. So this is how the magnetic field lines behave. So they, in general, we say that the magnetic field lines originate from the north pole and they terminate on the south pole. Whereas inside you have the magnetic field lines originating from the south pole and terminating toward the north pole, that is inside the bar magnet. Next, let us see what happens when this current carrying conductor is kept in an external magnetic field. So you can see in the diagram there is one conductor which is kept in an external magnetic field. So you have a horseshoe magnet, and in that horseshoe magnet you are placing the conductor. Now this conductor is connected to a battery, and when you switch on the battery, what happens to the conductor? So in this experiment, it was noted that whenever current flows through a conductor in the presence of a magnetic field, a force is exerted on the conductor. Now if you reverse the direction of the current, then the direction of the force also gets reversed. So if you stop the flow of current, the motion of the conductor will stop. So the motion of the conductor will only happen if the conductor has a current flowing through it and it is kept in the presence of external magnetic field. That is what I meant. If no current, then no motion of the conductor. So the experimental Japanese maglev train uses a magnetic forces for both support and propulsion. Okay. Now